But the popularity of AI side hustles and digital products is exploding right now. With the introduction of Midjourney and other text-to-image AI tools, it's never been easier to sell high-quality, sellable digital products. But the problem is, as more people realize how easy it is to create these assets, the market is only going to get more crowded and it's going to get harder and harder to stand out. And honestly, if you can't stand out, you're not going to make many sales. So with that in mind, I decided to research some more advanced methods to get better images out of Midjourney. I've discovered 5 tips and tricks to help you create better assets more quickly, which will help you to stand out from the competition. Number 4 in particular blew my mind when I discovered it, and I think it will totally change the way you make these products. Firstly, let's talk about setting the aspect ratio of your image. The aspect ratio refers to the width to height ratio of an image. It's usually expressed by 2 numbers separated by a colon in the format of width colon height. Now that might sound confusing, so let's see how that works in practice. The normal image ratio in Midjourney is 1:1, which is a square. A 3:2 ratio would be a landscape shot, while a 2:3 ratio would be a portrait shot. Now this is really important because the aspect ratio you need depends on the product you're trying to create. Rather than creating a square image and editing it later, you can generate these images in the correct aspect ratio using Midjourney itself. And to do it's really simple. At the end of your prompt, just add 2 hyphens and AR, followed by the aspect ratio you want. By setting the aspect ratio of your image, you can now create business cards in their correct dimensions straight out of Midjourney. You could create photos that are actually ready for print in both landscape and portrait orientations, or you can match your images to popular paper printing sizes. This makes the whole process much easier and removes the need for excessive editing using software like Photoshop, helping you to make better products quickly. Moving on to the next point, let's discuss stylization. In Midjourney, the stylization setting essentially controls how artistic the response from your prompt will be, and understanding it will completely transform your images. Now again, this is much simpler when you see it, so let's go ahead and have a look. If you're not already, you need to be on version 5 of Midjourney before you do this. Both version 4 and 5 do use stylization, but the settings are slightly different. So to set your version, just type /settings and then select version 5. Once you've done this, you can control the stylization of your image by using the stylize flag, which you do by writing your prompt and then adding 2 hyphens and the letter S, followed by your stylization value. A value of 0 makes Midjourney follow your prompt very closely, but it means that the image won't necessarily be as artistic or interesting. On the other hand, if you set your stylization to a really high value like 1000, the image will become much more creative and interesting, but they might not follow your prompt as exactly. So depending on the kind of products you're making, you're going to want to use completely different stylization values. If you're creating something where the style of the image is super important, like coloring book pages, you probably want to keep a low stylized value. But if you're trying to create interesting images that you can sell as posters or print on t-shirts, high stylization values are going to make some really creative images. So playing around with this gives you a lot more control over the output of the image. And just as a quick tip, if you're going to create lots of similar images, adding this flag to every prompt might get annoying, but you can actually set the stylization setting for all your prompts instead. To do this, type /settings and then click on one of the stylization settings to apply that in all future prompts. Okay. Now we're going to look at repeating prompts. So when you're creating digital products, you're naturally going to want to create lots and lots of images until you find the image that you like. But in Midjourney, that would take quite a while normally, as you're going to need to sit there and type prompt after prompt, one after the other, until you find an image that you like, waiting each time for the last prompt to complete. This becomes very time consuming. A better way to do this is to use the repeated prompt, which you can do by typing 2 hyphens and an R with a number after it. This will repeat your command over and over for however many times you set. This is great because it means you can go away, make a coffee, and come back to lots and lots of images which you can then choose from. And this makes the whole process much quicker. The number of repetitions you can request does vary depending on your subscription level. So it's a maximum of 10 for standard subscribers and a maximum of 40 for pro subscribers. You also do need to be in fast mode, which is the default. So unless you've manually changed this, you can just assume that's already set up correctly. Again, this is a really quick one, but it means you can now create big batches of images using prompts, and from there upscale and create variants of images that you like. Now obviously creating the original image is just the first stage, and what quite often happens in Midjourney is that you get an image back that you almost like, but you just want to adjust one thing about it. And to be honest, this is really annoying unless you know about this next trick. Fortunately, Midjourney does have a solution for this, and that is remixing. Now remixing is a really interesting concept in Midjourney. It's an experimental feature, so it may change or be removed at any time, but it's a really cool idea and something you should definitely take advantage of while you can. So what is remix mode? Remix mode allows you to change the prompt parameters, model versions, or aspect ratios between variations of an image. And this means you can create your first image and then make slight adjustments to it in a more controlled format than just pressing the make variations button and praying that it does what you want. This is really useful for making specific adjustments to your image until you get exactly what you're looking for. So to get started, the first thing you need to do is enable remix mode. To do this, type /settings and then toggle on remix mode. Then create an image you want to remix, upscale it, and click the Make Variations button. Now normally this would just go ahead and create a load of random variations based on the image you selected, but now that you're in remix mode, it will give you a chance to edit the prompt of the new image and combine that with the image that you're making variations from. And at this point you can change loads of different things. You can change the subject, taking a composition that you like and changing the contents of it, or you can change the style, moving from a realistic style to an illustration, for example. And this has loads of practical uses in digital products. If you create an image that you love, but it's the wrong aspect ratio because you forgot to set the right flag, you can adjust that using remix mode. If you like the composition of an image but don't like the style, you can edit that too. Super interestingly, you can even take an image that you already had and tile it using remix mode, which is amazing for creating seamless patterns. It means if you create an image that you think would work well as a seamless pattern, you can now make it into one without having to start the whole process again, which is amazing. Once you've got an image that's absolutely perfect, you're usually going to need to make it bigger so that your digital product is high enough quality for customers to print out and use. Now obviously in Midjourney you can upscale the image a bit using the software itself, but the results really aren't that big. If your products are meant to be printed out anything bigger than a few inches, you're going to need to upscale it beyond what Midjourney can do. That's where the fifth point comes in, and that is how to increase the size of your images up to 8 times the size of what Midjourney can do itself. The good news is there are completely free AI tools that help you to do this, and if you want to find out how to use them, you can check out my video on that right here. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.